All right, I'm Eric from Mann Lake, and welcome to the Western States July edition of the Beekeeper Buzz. So we're here in Northern California where it's been blistering hot for the last several weeks. We've had weeks on end of over 100-degree weather, several days over 105, a few days over 110, and it's starting to get dry and it's starting to get a little bit dirty out here. So when I think about this time of year and I think about my bees, there's a couple things that I get concerned about. One of those things is robbing. And robbing's just something that occurs when you've got a hive that's got some resources, it's got honey, it's got maybe some syrup, and it just doesn't have an adequate population of bees to defend itself. That hive becomes very vulnerable to robber bees coming in and just taking all the resources and really wiping out the colony. Once robbing starts, it is almost impossible to stop. So the best thing to do is to not allow it to start in the first place. So when I go into this hive here, one of the first things I'm going to be looking at is, what does the bee population look like? You know, are there enough bees in there to defend this hive? If there are not, I'm going to help this thing out. What I'm going to do is I'm either going to requeen this hive, or I am going to combine two weak hives together to make one stronger hive, requeen that hive, or maybe I'm just going to take some resources from a stronger hive to add to this hive to just boost it up. So that's one of the first things I'm going to do when I take this lid off. The other thing that I'll say, you know, about this time of year when it's really, really hot, and robbing's is a worry for me, is I'm going to be less frequent with, you know, how often I get into these hives. Definitely less frequent than I would in the spring or the fall. And the other thing is I'm going to go in there with a plan, and I'm going to know what I want to look for. I want to know what I need to fix. And I'm going to get this lid back on this hive as quickly as possible so that the sun is just not beating down on these frames. So I'm going to go ahead and get in this hive. And I will make a little bit of a confession here. A couple days ago, I was out here to do this same video, and I did not bring any protective clothing. I was in short sleeves, and I paid the price for it. The bees were very ornery. They did not want me there, and they tore me up pretty good. So the lesson to be learned there is, you know, wear your protective gear. Wear a veil, wear a jacket, wear gloves if you feel like you need to, but just don't get sloppy with your beekeeping. Be safe, be smart, and wear protective clothing. So I'm going to go ahead and smoke this hive up a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and get in here, and we're going to see what's going on. This is a hive that was actually built off of a package in May. So this is a pretty young hive, and I'm not sure what I'm going to see in here, but I'm going to get a pretty good idea as soon as I pop the lid. So my first thought when I open this hive is, man, I've got a lot of bees in here. This is a good looking hive. So what I see here is I see a good band of honey around the outside. I see a good amount of capped brood. I see a good amount of eggs. And I see a fair amount of pollen. As important as anything, I see a lot of bees. Okay, same thing here. I see a decent band of honey. I see good eggs. I see decent pollen. I'd probably like to see a little bit more pollen. So very soon I will be putting a patty on this hive. And based on the population of bees, I'm going to probably put a second box here, give them a little bit more room to continue to grow. Another thing I'm going to do with this hive is I'm going to check for mites, and the tool that I would recommend is the Easy Check. This is an alcohol wash that is made by Vito Pharma. It's very easy to use, it's accurate, and it's just a tool that everybody should have in their toolbox when they're going and checking for mites. If I find that my mite loads are concerning, I'm going to treat. And when I think about treatments, you know, I'm thinking about the weather, and I'm thinking about what treatments are effective. Well, there's a lot of treatments out there that are effective. There are a lot of treatments out there that are available. When it's really hot like this, my treatment of choice would be Apivar. It's also made by Vito Pharma. This is a amatraz-based contact strip that you put in the brood nest of the hive. It's very effective. It's got a long efficacy, almost 60 days. And this is something I would definitely endorse and definitely recommend for those of you that are treating for mites. Another thing to consider in the heat of the summer is shade. So especially for you backyard beekeepers, if you've got access to shade, if there's trees in your backyard, you know, keep in mind that the most healthy thing for the bees is to not have the sun beating down on them constantly in that hottest part of the day, which for us here in California is, you know, 2 o'clock in the afternoon to maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So where we are right here is perfect. There's a canopy of trees over the hives. They're shielding these colonies from the sun at the hottest part of the day, and that's ideal. In addition to that, we want to make sure that these bees have an adequate source of water. Here we are up against a squash field that's irrigated. So these bees here have got lots of access to water. That's great. If they did not have that, we would just want to make sure that we provide some water source for the bees within 100 to 200 yards of these colonies. It's really important. They need hydration, and if it's not close by, we've got to just provide it for them. So if you have any questions about this video, please put it in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. And hit like and subscribe. You know, we've got more content coming, and we're looking forward to doing more of these videos. Thank you for your time, and thanks for watching.